Let's go back to some of the decisions that were made since the last time you and I talked on the podcast regarding the rest of the semester athletically. You know, we had our conference and of course the university as well cancel the rest of the spring season. And part of that became a conversation about commencement. And eventually it was decided to postpone that. Can you once again just take us through those conversations and really try to fill us in on how tough those decisions were, because some people will blatantly just say, well, that was something easy for them to make, but I'm sure that it wasn't the easiest decision or the easiest conversation to have.
No, it was definitely not easy by any means. We had the conversation multiple times, and we got together as the crisis management team, and then more and more stakeholders kind of joined the conversation, and we really tried to make sure we were taking into account all the different perspectives, the students that could be graduating, the students that would be participating, and the faculty and staff, and President Garen's last year here as he retires. I mean, so many factors played into it. So it was definitely complex. I was very appreciative of how collegiate everybody was to talk through the details, talk through different opinions, different feelings about it. But in the end, I think the university did the correct thing. I think it's really hard to commit to social distancing and to commit to the solution of making COVID-19 go away, which won't really ever go away, but I mean to reduce the way that it's impacting our life right now. But at the same time, to be trying to plan a commencement activity where you'd be bringing people in from all over the country and maybe globe, that's tough. So I think they made the right decision to step up and to postpone and delay, not cancel, but delay the event. Mm-hmm. And eventually we'll all be here and be able to celebrate that event.
What part of this do you believe is a reason why it may not be seen as serious as it should be to some folks? I mean, we see the really horrific images of people still in droves out in parks and on beaches. What do you think it's going to take? Is it going to take a worst case scenario to get people to realize that staying home for 14 days is the best thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to remember this is extremely complex, and this is a first. So most of the time when any organization goes through a first, there's definitely a learning curve. Unfortunately, the learning curve here can lead to illness and even worse, death. So I think what people really need to focus on is not the idea that it's not in my town or it's not being reported heavily in my local area. What I think they need to look at is that this is something that will continue to get worse if we do not participate in the solution. And I think that's really the big thing. It'll be interesting to see how we look back on this, because some people might look at this and say, see, social distancing, it never happened in my area. The virus never really happened in my area, so social distancing wasn't necessary. But really, that probably isn't accurate. Social distancing probably contributed to why it did not become big in your area. And I think that's what people have to consistently think about. It's hard to social distance. It's not part of our normal culture. It's not part of how most of us go by day to day, but it really is the solution. It's really our best solution right now. I mean, it's not that there's 5 solutions and we're opting for this. It really is the best and almost only solution we have right now. So it's hard, and you do see a lot of stuff on the media about people still continuing to participate in spring break activities up till last week, still going out and doing bigger, larger events. And I really think this is a bad decision, because we don't know if we have it, we don't know if the person next to us has it, and we don't know if we're going to give it to somebody else. And what I've told our students, who are all medicine students, and they're excited to go back to the hospital and be part of the solution on the healthcare side, what I've told them is, you don't know how bad this can get, and you definitely don't want to contribute to the problem. And I think if that's what we focus on, we're part of the solution by social distancing, and we keep focusing on that, that's what will get us to the end of this.
I think sometimes it gets a little bit understated at how important nurses and doctors and their jobs are right now. It's starting to come to light a little bit more. Are there ways that someone like myself, who doesn't know one know anyone specifically, that is a nurse that I can just call up and say thank you. But how do we say thanks to people who we don't want to get close to, and they don't want to get close to us at this current time?
That's a great question, because it actually leads back to the question before. The best way you can say thank you to a healthcare provider is by staying home. I mean, it really truly is, because the healthcare system is so overwhelmed at this point. Overwhelmed with the possibility of COVID-19, no matter where you are, in a primary care clinic, a walk-in clinic, urgent care, emergency department, inpatient unit. All of these areas have some anxiety about COVID-19. Healthy, normal anxiety. On top of it, there's a lot of logistics going into this. So we're trying to obtain materials that we need, masks and gowns and ventilators. We're trying to make sure we have appropriate staffing, upstaffing or downstaffing in areas that don't need providers today. I think all these things, and then on top of it, to see people out not participating in social distancing and doing normal things, or being interviewed and saying, well, it's not interfering with my life, so I'm just not going to participate. That's where I think healthcare providers are frustrated. We want you to help, and we want you to say thank you by staying home and staying healthy. That's the best thing you can do. And I think that's every healthcare provider I talk to, they appreciate the thank yous. They really do. I think they really appreciate not seeing you in the hospital. And I think that's really the take home message. We want to see you healthy. That's the best way you can help us. I also think, helping us is not going online and trying to buy up every mask and gown that you can find. Those things are really important to people on the front line, and stockpiling them will not help. It won't change the outcome for you, but it really will change the outcome for us. So, continue to be supportive from a distance and stay healthy. That's the best way you can say thank you. Yes, the text message, the phone call, absolutely. We do appreciate those things. And I think, remember that the people on the front lines, it's a wide gamut of people. I think the media does a good job saying thank you, doctors and nurses. But I think really remember, to run a hospital is not just doctors and nurses. I mean, it is everybody. It's the people that keep the building open and clean. It's the doctors and the nurses and the PAs and the NPs and the mental health counselors and the scribes and the techs. I mean, it takes an army of people to run a hospital. So I think what my statement to everybody is, we appreciate everyone. We appreciate the people keeping the lights on. We appreciate the security guards keeping us safe during times of panic. I mean, we really appreciate everyone. So thank you to PAs and physicians and nurse practitioners and nurses. Absolutely. Thank you so much. But also thank you for everybody else that makes sure the environment we're practicing in is safe and is successful. So thanks to everyone.